Dit is de 18e aflevering van de Poddy C official.
Onofficieel.
De beste podcast op internet. We zien we om mijn best friend, tweevoudig wereldkampioen, ViolentPanda. Te welkomen. Hoor je dat?
It sounds like German. If you throw a little bit of Dutch in there, and some like, it sounds off, but I could understand.
Was there not enough of that?
Je kunt een beetje zo normaal praten zoals dit, maar dan versta je niet wat ik bedoel.
Are you playing back the recording of me talking?
No?
That
yeah, it sounded literally the same, right? No.
It sounded a bit like when you play a recording backwards.
So, everybody,
sorry to interrupt, Stumpy, that was a lovely intro and everything, right? But you know how normally you offend the guests? Mm-hmm. This time you forgot to introduce us, so I'm offended.
Oh, wait, sorry. Oh, okay, hang on, how would we say?
My naam is Cole. Say that.
My naam is Cole.
My naam is Stumpy.
There you go.
Hey,
there we are.
Hey,
Dutch is so easy.
Brilliant.
Christ. Dutch is so fucking easy. Everybody, this is the Poddy C. It's available on Spotify. It's available on iTunes, all that good stuff. So if you want to listen to it there, go ahead. I've started to put that at the start of our document, not the end, so that people realise that they can actually go listen to it on a better platform than YouTube. Because you still can't do audio only, which is unbelievable.
Not for free.
Not for free, mate. Get that YouTube Red. Do you have YouTube Red, Panda?
I don't.
You don't. My God.
I don't want to spend money, you know?
This also obviously made possible by our patrons on Patreon, patreon.com/subpar, but in HD. If you want to help out, you can do it for like $1. And you will be helping us immensely. So thank you everybody on there. Like I said, we're joined by ViolentPanda, Mr. two-time world champion, my best mate.
Sure.
You're your best mate. Stumpy's best mate.
You're my best mate.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
So I've always joked about it, but Panda, we are best mates, aren't we?
Yeah, we're best mates. Best buddies.
See?
Can't go wrong.
How is it, you guys? Is it playing Borderlands?
Yeah,
is that correct?
Yeah, that's just linked us together, right?
Mate, me, Panda, and Bilbo. The Borderlands dream team. So, RLCS for Season 8, it's concluded. We are donezo. We are finito with the league play right now, and we're about to head into playoffs. It has been an absolute fucking shit show. Like, across the board, basically nothing has gone how anybody thought. Panda, what's your thoughts, before we get into anything more specific, on Season 8 so far?
I mean, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but it was all according to script, so we just scripted all of it, but yeah, no, it's... especially NA has been kind of, doubtful.
Kind of.
EU has been alright, like Vitality going bad, okay, like us and like I think it was okay, like it was a tough seasons. There were like, except from complexity, there weren't any blowouts,
Yeah.
So it was very competitive, and that's what you get when it's very competitive, right? Everyone wins against each other, so.
Yeah, so we're going to be starting off with NA. The table as it has finished for league play. We have our two confirmed teams that are going through to Madrid already. So that's going to be NRG, which I don't think is too many people's surprise, and Space Station Gaming, which is slightly a surprise considering how Pittsburgh Knights have been doing throughout so far. Third is Pittsburgh Knights, then Ghost, Birds, and Rogue. And then in the relegation spots, who are now going to be fighting for their lives, is Cloud9 and G2. I'm shook. Cole, are you shook?
I am as well, especially because, like, for the last month, people have been prophesizing that Cloud9 are starting to die. It's all going wrong for them. Haha, let's all laugh at Squishy and all that. And G2, they've been quietly going about their business, losing as well. I didn't realize actually till right now, looking at the table, that G2 finished below Cloud9.
Honestly, in my eyes, G2 was a surprise to me. Cloud9, like, I could see coming. Like, they have their ups and downs, Cloud9. So, they could have a bad season. It happens to them. Like we've seen before that they've had bad tournaments and stuff like that. Like, they're not very consistent. But, like, G2 has always been very consistent, so that surprised me.
I mean, Cloud9 have never done well at a DreamHack, to my best knowledge. They've never, like...
I mean, they won against us at the first DreamHack, or the second DreamHack it was.
Well, no, but they didn't... Did they win? Oh, no, I mean the Pro Circuit, sorry.
Oh,
just the Pro Circuit, sorry.
Okay, yeah. No.
Like, as far as I know, I might be horribly wrong, but I don't think they did particularly well on those off-season / mid-season events, and
Not that I can remember.
Like,
Sure
it's
enough.
always been European teams or Pittsburgh Knights or Peeps or whatever they were called at the time.
I mean, energy has done well.
And NRG, yeah, they finally won
Yeah.
their first major, lol. Sorry, Gibbs, it was a major.
No, but they also got second at Fireburner. I think it was Valencia,
Yeah.
right? Like, they still did well there, so...
Yeah, like you say, Cloud9 haven't been consistent, whereas G2 had pretty decent performances throughout. They did well at Worlds, obviously, coming second. And it
Came second in, was it Montreal as well? 2 peeps.
maybe. God, that's something I definitely
think
should
it
have a
was.
tab open for.
They came second in one of them against the peeps.
So you said that you saw it coming. How?
I
What-
didn't
what were
see
the,
it coming, but I'm not surprised. Let's just say
What
that.
are the signs? Why aren't you shocked?
I mean, they're a really good team when they're on fire, but I don't know. You don't know what goes on in the team, and I'm pretty sure they have quite not emotional, but like when they're not feeling right, they don't play well. So that could affect them as well.
Could part of it be because they've been together for so long that they've started to stagnate a little bit? Could that be part of it?
It could be, yeah, maybe.
Sort of, it's a bit Dignitas-esque in that way of being together for a long time, and then it starts to not go as bad as it has done for Cloud9, but it starts to sort of dwindle down a little bit, and then changes start to be made. Do you see Cloud9 staying together if they survive the relegation tournament?
God knows. I have no idea. Like on the NA side, I don't know any, so I have no idea.
What if they get demoted and they go into the RLRS?
I honestly don't know any of the RLRS teams in NA, so I don't know how good they are and stuff. But yeah.
Well, you got Karma. Karma's battling away.
Oh,
yeah.
She's doing really well.
They stuck together, the Spice crew, I believe.
Okay.
2 out of 3 did, I believe.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I think one of them left. I think it was
Jay Wiz or
Nose Dude. I think Jay Wiz stayed with them.
Aw.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I've not watched much NA. RLRS.
We're saying that a lot today, aren't we?
Yeah, fuck it.
Sorry,
I don't know.
everyone.
I've just got in for a really fucking awkward train journey after filming for a day. I'm scattered. I'm shook, mate.
But yeah, like on the EU side, I follow it sometimes. Like I looked at the standings, watch some games, because it's the EU I have to play against that if they come up against us. But yeah, and I really haven't been following the RLRS scene.
So I think this sort of the most it goes to show is that no one right now is really safe from danger when the previous world champions and DreamHack second place are in that relegation tournament. Do you think it's a case that other teams have done better and just outplayed Cloud9 who got a bit lazy? Or do you think it was just the fact that Cloud9 have got some kind of internal issue?
I haven't watched the
If
last
you had to
week.
guess.
Like where Space Station, I think 1-2-0 or something, went 2-0, and they made
Yeah,
the
they
news
did.
up too. Like I haven't watched those games, so I have no idea how they played. But I mean, I assume so that they just had an amazing week, right? Like
Yeah,
had
yeah. I
to
mean,
be.
Space Station, from what I saw, were just doing what they needed to do. As cliche as that seemed, like obviously they ended up 3-2ing G2 this week and 3-0ing Pittsburgh Knights, who then basically meant that they went to LAN instead of Pittsburgh Knights, at least sort of a guaranteed spot.
yeah.
I feel like with Space Station, we can link things back to you yourself personally, a bit more, Panda. So they changed Sathu for Arsenal. How much does that increase the pressure, knowing that if there's any bad results, everyone's going to say it's because of the roster change?
I mean, for us, when things weren't going well with us anyway, with Turbo, so like a change wasn't in the wrong mind. I don't know how to say it, but like it wasn't going well anyway, so we had to change something. And so far, I'm happy with it. Like Astral's been showing off, and we work well together. At least the last week, we finally show what we can do. Because I really felt like in scrims whole off season long during the seasons, we were playing really well, and we played how we want to play. But then when it came to RLCS, the first some weeks we just couldn't perform, or some people weren't feeling it, or we just didn't link. But yeah, in the last week now we finally show what we can do.
Was there extra pressure when you did get in that sort of a different third player, especially when you've got a situation like where K-Dop leaves, like the best player in the world, then being switched out for somebody who is less proven? Is there extra pressure going into some games, or do you sort of take it as more of like sort of a fresh start and you're like, look, whatever we do here, this is where we learn from, this is our base?
I mean, the feeling wasn't well in the team anyway last season. So yeah, if the feeling isn't well in any team, you're not performing well. And that's shown to me, at least in Rock League. So you really had to have a bond with your team to perform, because that builds the chemistry as well. And we didn't really have it last season.
So obviously we're talking about previous teammates. Turbo on NRG, they have suffered their first defeat, right, in league play against
Who did
Rogue.
they lose to? Oh, Rogue. Okay.
They nearly
Rogue,
went
yeah.
7-0.
And I put a bet on when I was making predictions. I said that if Rogue beats either NRG or Cloud9, I would have the Rogue decal on my car for a month. And if they won both, I'd use the Rogue decal forever. So I'm now a Rogue fanboy thanks to these results.
And you,
so cheers.
and you normally use
cheers,
Batmobile,
Chronovi.
so that's fucked you.
Yeah,
up.
exactly. I've got to change my car.
Oh,
I've got
no.
to change my car completely. Well, you got to do what you got to do.
Did you stream Rocket League today?
Yeah, but I haven't switched yet because there hasn't been the decal on. So as soon as I see the decal on, I'll be doing it. I'm clinging onto the Batmobile for now.
I remember the good old times playing as Cole for the first time. We looked up to Cole once. We were like, oh my god, Team Rocket! Team Rocket! The amazing team!
I don't know why you're laughing at that.
Do you remember the times, Cole?
Well, yeah, that sounds
What was
about
it?
right.
Number 3 in Europe was the
That
peak.
sounds right.
They were good back then. They were good.
That was fucking sick, mate. Defensive Cole, I was a rock at the back. Doomsy up top, just bull chasing. Tree being weird and Belgian. It was
Boss in the midfield.
boss in the midfield.
What did
mate.
you think back then of these idiots, Ryuk and me and whatever and Burrito?
I was like, these guys are shit. They've not even played battle cars. How can we lose to them? I've got like 2,000 hours in the previous game. I'm never going to be overtaken by these lot. It's fine.
I do remember when the first time I came up against somebody that I remember, like sort of back in the day, I now know now. I came up against Scrub in a tournament. Must have been like back in 2015, like late 2015. I was in a tournament, and this little fucking kid, Scrub, shows up, and it was just him and Killer number 7, and it was against me and 2 mates. And it's like, oh, 2v3, easy. Next round, let's go. And then he beat us about 13-0, like 2v3ing us. Even back then, I was like, what the fuck is this person? That was like my first taste of somebody being really good at the game and like destroying me.
Yeah, I think that's my first experience as well, actually. Scrub, like where I used to play some once tournaments, and he was, the once player.
Yeah.
And he was playing all those once tournaments, so yeah, I got up to Scrub a few times, and it was pretty fun, but yeah.
Did you ever beat him?
I don't think so.
How long did it take you to become as good as you are? Like, relatively speaking, of course.
I mean, it goes over time, right? Like, I didn't get good overnight, but, I worked my way up. Because I was nobody back in the day. Like I just said, I looked up to you guys, Team Rocket. Yep.
Like you're implying
Yep.
that only nobodies can look up to Team Rocket.
I wouldn't disagree with that at all, mate.
I once looked up to Doomsy and Tree as well.
Nah, but then I think me and Ryuk was my real first team that we've proven ourselves. I think we were like 6 in the power rankings finally. Like it's not bad, right? Like with that team back then.
Not quite Team Rocket levels.
No, true. No, I think it was me, Ring, and Ryuk was my first ever like team. We were competing against the top teams like Crown and Jewels in the tournaments and stuff. And actually, we almost beat them like Crown and Jewels back in the day. The Crown and Jewels.
Yeah.
We almost beat them in the ESL final, and then they stole Ring from us. So that was great. Like they literally bought them over, but that doesn't matter. But yeah.
Right, so we were talking about NRG. So they lost their first one to Rogue after being taken down 3-1. So it wasn't even like a 5-game series.
Yeah.
Cole, I think neither of us could watch this Saturday, unfortunately. So we sort of had to.
No, I was gutted.
So we had to catch up on it a little bit later. From what I saw, it looked like NRG were fucking around a bit. Like they were the only confirmed team for any position in North America before this week happened. They were definitely through in first or second, right?
I mean, I mean, if they didn't care about the 7-0, maybe they did, but, there's always going to be less effort it doesn't really matter,
That's the question I've actually got for you. So you've been in that position. Season 6 league play, you guys were in a position to go 7-0 yourselves up against Vitality. When you were going into that series, were you like, right, we've got to go into LAN with a perfect record, or did it just not matter?
I mean, honestly, when we were playing, we were always very consistent. Like, it showed in results as well. Me, Turbo, Kato, we were very consistent. So, like, even if we were just not pressured at all, we still played the same. Like, we never played any less or any better. Like, it was just consistent all the time.
So you guys just went into it and just thought, let's just play it normally, and then you'd end up winning anyway.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. It's a long time ago, but yeah.
It was 3-2. You romped to a 6-3 victory in the final game. I don't know if you remember, mate, but it was 6-3
A
in the decider.
9-goal extravaganza.
Yeah.
My God, I need to go back and watch that. That sounds wonderful. Now that we know what's happening with NA, we have our playoff situation. So, in the upper bracket, like we said, in those first two spots, it's NRG and Space Station. They made it through to semi-finals already. If they win one series, they need to win one more, and then they're already through. But they're going to land regardless, just sorting out seeding. And then Birds and Rogue in the lower round 1, and Pittsburgh Knights and Ghost in the upper quarterfinals. As NA done? NA was pretty sort of simple once you get past the whole Cloud9 G2 situation, which has sort of been bubbling away for a couple of weeks now, and it's sort of become gradually more and more likely that this will end up happening. Are you thinking that, Panda, if you get to LAN and you're going to be facing off with, say, Birds and Rogue, are you happier playing them compared to Cloud9, despite the fact they placed higher, would you say?
There's two sides to it in my eyes. No, because they're an unproven team at LAN, in my eyes, right? Like, they don't have much experience, so they're always like a wild card. Like the Knights, the Peeps were at DreamHack, right? They could have an insane tournament. Like, they're feeling great. You know, they're always wild card teams in my eyes, so they could do it insanely great or bad, you know? But yes, or... Like, there's the other side to it is like G2 and Cloud9 were always consistent at LAN, so they were always going to be good at LAN. So, you know, you'd rather face, in my eyes, the Rogues and, you know, those teams than G2 and Cloud9.
Hoping you catch on a bad day kind of thing.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, that's NA done. Easy. Next, right?
Easy.
Can we on to EU?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it.
Because EU, quite a bit happened, including a cheeky little bit of drama. If we start with sort of the standard results to begin with, so top of the table, Reciprocity. Fair play, right? Like, they're pretty sick. They're quite good at Rocket League, really.
They're very consistent.
The second place team who got through because they picked up Casio, and again, we said this when it happened pre-season, but Casio has 400 IQ'd this entire season by going from basically having no team to then being in a bit of a pickle, going with Freaky because, oh, why not? And then he's ended up now just going to LAN. So he's done well. Casio, absolute mastermind. Third is Vitality, then Mouse, Dignitas, and Barcelona.
Hey.
Then in 7th and 8th in our relegation spots is TSM and the absolute whipping boys, Complexity, going a famous 0-7, which is just unbelievably bad.
Like, how many teams have went 0-7? Like
Secret have.
Team Secret.
That's like the main example for a 0-7 because they went 7-0.
Probably
in
like
rival
10 in
series.
America.
Yeah, that's true. So to start this off and start this week off, you went 3-0 versus TSM, which then meant that you had a little bit of pressure off you guys because you sort of took that one step further away from going into the relegation situation. As a captain, I was wondering about how it was that you kept Astral and Yukio in that good sort of headspace going then into playing Vitality, because I imagine that's a situation where you need to keep them calm, level-headed, and don't let them get ahead of themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I've always tried to do that, but also we have our new coach. Well, not new anymore, but I always say new coach, Verge. But yeah, Verge also helps with that, of course. Yeah, but we just try to always just keep the focus on, right? Like, but to be honest, Sunday there wasn't too much pressure. Yes, there were some nerves. Yes, there was some pressure, but you know, we had nothing to lose. You know, might as well just go in, play our game, which we finally did.
What's it like playing with a coach? Because traditionally you've been known as the captain, the one who sort of turns to his teammates and says, come on, we can still do this. Have you enjoyed not having that pressure this season?
I still do. Like, during the games, I still have to do that. It's just that Verge helps us in between the games and outside the games to just keep our level headed. But yeah, during the games, I still have to, you know, cheer the guys on if I have to and stuff.
What's the mentality like at the moment in Camp Dignitas? Because you finished
Candy.
basically as middle of the pack as you possibly could. Like, you and Mousesports we're going to get onto it, but there was a little bit of conversation, not really much drama, just sort of a bit of confusion as to who should be fourth, who should be fifth. But it might be the most mid-table finish we've ever seen in Rocket League because you have gone like drawn with fourth essentially. What's the feeling like?
And their win loss in games is 0 as well.
Yeah,
that's like, you know, down the axis.
What's it been like going along with these guys and finishing right in the middle?
in my opinion, like I said, we didn't perform the first few weeks, which in my eyes we should have. Like we could have easily done it. Like if everyone was just not stressed too much, we could have easily won Veloce as well, because we kind of threw that series. I don't know if anyone watched it, but we kind of threw that series. And then the season would have been more comfortable, because we had that pressure and we just couldn't perform in RLCS. It just kept building up.
I mean, that was more with Veloce being an sort of an untested team against a lot of the RLCS guys, right? Because they hadn't been together hugely long. I don't know how long it takes for a team to be together until then they start doing scrims together, and like sort of official scrims at least.
I mean, honestly, no. We just didn't score open nets. Like that kind of stuff happened in that series. So yeah, that happened. So like we could have won that easily if we just were a little bit more on point.
The teams at the top and the teams at the bottom. Would you say that Reciprocity is better than TSM or even Complexity, or is it just a case of taking opportunities when they come?
It's the case of being consistent. Right now, it's all about consistency. And for example, TSM isn't consistent. We weren't consistent. Like Reciprocity has shown. Okay, they had some off series, like I talked of really, like they weren't good against Vitality and stuff. But they're still like more consistent than all the other teams, and I think that's what matters.
I honestly think the most consistent team in EU RLCS is Complexity. Like, they're the only team that has stayed at the most straight line, I think, imaginable. Because they've not faltered. They've not even looked convincing at any moment. So, I mean, you can't argue against that. They got more consistent results than Reciprocity, in all fairness to them.
So what you're saying, ViolentPanda, is if anyone wants to be an EU RLCS pro, follow Complexity.
Yes. Do that.
So the teams that, like I said, we know that are going to be going through to Madrid are Veloce and Reciprocity, where I think everybody, or most people, would have said at the start of the season, yeah, Reciprocity, they'll be going, or they'll be, like as in the top two, or they'll just do a pretty easy run through the playoffs if they come third or fourth. Veloce were more of an untested force, but after beating Mouse this week, they did secure their spot, and they beat them 3-1 in the end. Did you expect that performance from Veloce, Panda?
I mean, in the start of the season, we didn't think of that much, but yes, like this week, we could easily argue coming up to like last week, we could see them improving. We could see Veloce playing well, so I could see it coming. Yes, but I feel like Mouse also didn't play that well that week, and Veloce put their chances in. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Veloce, I think they keep being described annoyingly as a sort of an unknown team almost. But then you look at actually who is on there, and those players have been in and around the RLCS for like 6 or 7 seasons now.
Yep, all of them have, yep.
So I think a lot of people can underestimate their ability, but that might just be because they don't really realise just actually the history of players like Freaky, for example.
And we could also say, how close EU is, right? Like the RLRS teams are all pretty good as well, Like Veloce was an RLRS team, and I think EU is so close that any team could beat any other team on the
anyone
third
can
day,
beat anyone on the day, Cole.
Yeah.
Well, it's true.
Cole's least favourite saying ever.
Even Cole can beat us.
Yeah, right. I was going to say, I think that we in the Rocket League community, we make the mistake of writing a player off if they get relegated from the RLCS to the RLRS. Like, to me, and I'm just as guilty of it myself, to me, as soon as Freaky sort of leaves Vitality or gets sort of demoted down there, he's not on my radar anymore. So then when he comes back up, it's a player that I have, not intentionally, but subconsciously written off. Is that the same for you pros? If someone goes down, are you like, oh, he's on his way down? Or do you back them to keep fighting and come back up? Or actually, a different question. If, say, Dignitas next season got relegated, would you feel that there'd be... Of course. Would you feel that there'd be an immense amount of pressure on you to force your way back up? Would you think people would writing you off?
That's where it just all becomes to dedication and practice. Like, there's players, I know a few players that don't have too much dedication. They don't practice enough when they have to. When you notice yourself falling off, you just have to put the effort in. Like, starting this season, not starting the season, but like this off season, I started my mechanics like slowing down a little bit, like falling off a little bit compared to the rest. So I had to, play more to progress and, finally get a little better with it. So I think that's what all players have to do. And I think Freaky did do that, for example. that put the work in. And
I mean, obviously coming from probably the most dominant Rocket League roster we have ever seen, the two-time world champion, including obviously Turbo then for his 3-time as well, across 2 or 3 seasons, it was the best team in the world, and there wasn't really any question about it. Do you practice more now to try and stay on top of your ability and try to sort of get back to sort of a position where you're comfortable with everything you're doing in the game? Yes. Or is it a little bit sort of less and you're like, okay, I'm not up there quite at the moment?
No, like I have to put way more effort in to get on the top again. Like when we were at the top, I could say easily that, for example, I know Turbo and me, like we barely put any hours in the game because we were on top and nobody could beat us anyway.
Yeah.
And it was going so fluently, even without putting the effort in. So like,
yeah.
It was just a funny period, I guess. But yeah, no, like I had to put a lot more effort in this time, to try and become better again.
I mean, you even see that with ex-pros like Marky Duda. I remember when they won Worlds, and even I suppose Cooksy, but not necessarily hours-wise, but with Marky at least, they won Worlds, and then it all just sort of went to shit, and nothing else really happened from that point on in terms of getting back up to the top level of Rocket League. And is it quite do you reckon you need to be told that, okay, you're not doing as well, like by a coach or something, that, hey, you're not doing very well at the moment, you need to be doing this, or do you think it needs to be more of a self-taught mechanism of, like, I'm not doing very well, I recognize it personally, and I need to now practice more?
I think it's both. You have to recognize yourself. Oh, things aren't going that well. I have to finally put some effort in, and I have to put effort into, become better. But for example, with me, when Verge came in, he gave everyone on our team tasks, or what he thought we should improve on. But he knew I had the brains. He knew I know how to play. But the only thing he could see about me is put some more effort in mechanics. So I did that. Like I could see that myself too. So I put more effort into that.
I think part of that as well is the scene itself maturing. Like, so you mentioned season 2 World Champions. Even back then, Rocket League compared to now was tiny. The prize pool was a quarter as big as big as it is now. The views were, I don't know, tiny compared to how they are now.
About 10,000 less, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, well, whereas that sort of stepping off the gas would just not be allowed anymore because Rocket League as an esport is so much more mature than it was back then.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you always have to put the effort in, but like I said, when you don't have to put the effort in, you don't notice yourself. Like if everything's going fluently, like we had with our team, like everything was going so well, we were so consistent, like we didn't need to put effort in. But now, when things aren't going well, you have to notice that yourself. When our players aren't performing like they should see that themselves as well and put effort in.
So we spoke before about just how close the EU RLCS was this season. There's 2 points to make about that. The first one being the game that Vitality played versus TSM decided whether they went 3rd or 7th, right?
And also, if TSM won that, we would have been top 4 already. So I'm gutted about that.
Were you watching?
Yes, TSM kind of threw that away the last game, but.
So it was a really weird situation because I was being told about it in our Discord, and people were like, "Okay, Vitality, they can either get 7th or 3rd." I'm like, "Sorry, what the fuck? Like they can't get any position in between that." Like, no. So. What do you think it is about this season that has made it that close? Because for me, from what it seems like, is the only real difference is the fact that we have a DreamHack Pro circuit. And it's got those throughout the year, which mean that all the teams can practice against each other in total roughly 6 times per year because you have the 2 RLCSs, then the 4 pro circuits. It means that they can almost analyse their competition more, get used to being on LAN, playing together, getting more into that sort of team headspace as opposed to just scrims. Each game actually means something if you're at a tournament. Do you think that's impacted it too much, or do you think there's another reason why it's close?
No, I think everything's just close because all the teams are finally performing. Like, I don't know how to say it, but just... the competition, we've always said it, right? This competition this season is insane. And then next season we say the same. The competition this season is insane because it just kept improving. Like everyone kept improving, so things are getting closer.
Do you think that there's potential to have? I know this is the word that you hate, Stumpy. Another. Is there potential to have another dynasty team? as Dignitas were 2 or 3 seasons ago, or is the game just everyone is way too high?
Do
now?
I understand that Stumpy doesn't want a dynasty team? Or like
No,
what?
I hate that
No,
word.
no, he hates the word. He thinks.
Really?
I'll let you have your rant. Go on, Stumpy. Have your rant about
I just
Go
don't.
ahead.
I think a quote unquote dynasty is a
Dynasty
is a good thing to have in Rocket League. I would love to have another top team, a la Dignitas back in the day, of being the top team in the world and going unbeaten and just being basically playing perfect, clean, proper gentleman's Rocket League, and nobody can take them down. I love that, because then that makes it makes a real statement when a team does take them down, and it's not just trading wins all over the place, which it has been a little bit.
Yep.
The reason why I don't like the word dynasty is because winning 2 fucking tournaments in a row is not a dynasty. It has to be over, in my mind, like 2 years of winning 90% of majors. That is a dynasty. Fuck anybody who calls 2 LAN wins in a row a dynasty. Bad word.
So, Panda, is there any chance of there being another dynasty?
Fuck off.
Rocket League just evolved beyond that now.
It's hard to say, honestly. Who knows what roster changes are gonna do this season as well to the whole scene. So I can't say how it's looking right now. No, but we'll see how it goes, right? Like maybe they will form another team that's perfect, literally perfect. So.
Would you describe
Just have
the
to see.
Dignitas team as perfect when it was UK'd up on Turbo? But as in back in like sort of that moment.
Yeah,
at
yeah.
least.
Like back then compared to now, there's no
Yes, yeah.
like there's no comparison, right? But back then, yes, I'd say we were pretty perfect.
Yeah, I
mean,
don't think many people
I mean,
disagree.
obviously not perfect because we lost Cloud9, but
Sure.
no, we were very consistent, and I think that's the most perfect you can get, right? Like,
Yeah. I mean, if that's the
consistently
thing that's going to
perform.
be separating teams, you can't do anything better than that, realistically.
yeah.
So we said about how close this season was in EU. To delve into that a little bit further, there has been some confusion with one of the rules that was set out before the season started, but it only really came to the forefront when Treefork mentioned it on Twitter mentioned it on Reddit from what I saw, where the issue was Dignitas and Mouse are both tied on 4 wins and 3 losses, as well as an equal game difference of 0, right? So meaning that nobody knows who's going to be 4th or 5th because of the unclear rules. Were you aware of that? Like as soon as it happened, you're like, oh shit, we're in that situation. Or did somebody have to tell you, okay, we don't know if you're 4th or 5th because we haven't really defined what game differential means necessarily?
Honestly, the first thing that came to mind was, well, if we become 5th, like, and like, they always have to follow the rules in my eyes, right? Like, if they can I swear on there?
Yeah, yeah, fuck yeah.
Fucking
If they fucked up a rule, it's their fault, right? That's what happened. Do you guys remember season 2? What happened to Flipside?
59
59
is bigger
equals
than 61.
61.
Yes. So this is the exact same situation that's happening right now. They were back then. We were on the other side. We were on Mouse's side, right? Everyone was confident. We won the head-to-head to Flipside. So, and that was gonna be the normal rule, right? Like head-to-head, everyone thought it was a rule. Even the casters said, "Yo, congrats, Mockit, going to land top 2, congrats on the stream." And like Johnny Boy comes on a stream, reads the rule book. Probably someone told him as well, because I don't know if he.
Yeah, he can't read.
Yeah. Okay, but probably someone told him, and he goes on stream and makes a big fuss out of it, right? And suddenly Celtics get backed up, and yes, they have to follow the rules. Those are the rules that they wrote, and we were fine with that. Like, we were upset, but we weren't too gutted. It's the rules. We know they fucked up. It's fucked up that we were in this position now, but there were the rules. Like, we couldn't do anything about it. In my eyes, it has to be the same now. Like, it should be the same now. Like, if Celtics still fucked up on a rule, if that's the same that happened back then, they should do the same, or else it's unfair, right?
So the reason why there was this confusion, it was basically to do with game differential, and it was comparing the game difference that you guys had against. Basically, it depends whether it mattered the game difference between you guys. So basically, in essence, a head-to-head, or that didn't come into it, and actually it was because of your game difference versus Reciprocity, which was even. It was both a 3-0, I believe, and then it was versus Veloce, because they're in second place, at which point Mouse did worse, therefore you should be in 4th. From what Scheist commented on Twitter, a guy from the esports team, he said, and it's a bit of a weird one, there's a missing Roman numeral in 2.3.3.4, which is the rule that's being disputed. So your example of the previous season is correct. This was noticed last week and is already with the localization team getting translated to different languages and will be updated ASAP. So it seems like they're going with a rule from previous seasons. And do you know whether that would put you in 4th or 5th if they go with previous season rules?
I'm not sure, but I mean, to me that doesn't matter, right? These were the rules in my eyes. Like, they should be followed by the rules. Like, if the season 2 thing wouldn't have happened, like I would have been more understandable with it.
Yeah.
But they screwed me over with it in season 2, so why don't do it now, right? Like, basically, if they don't do it, I will get fucked over by the same situations on both ends. So it's like...
Do you want to explain why it's such a big situation, whether you're in 4th or 5th?
Yeah, so if we were in 4th place, we would only have to win 1 series, and we have 2 chances to win just 1 series. And if we stay 5th, we have to win both series to even go to LAN.
And you only have 1 chance to do so, because you'll be in the lower bracket.
Yeah, we can't lose.
There's huge implications of this, and it's disappointing that it's come down to a fucking Roman numeral.
Yeah. And a post on the RL Esports subreddit.
Okay, so after the podcast that we had with Fruity, I think it was, we spoke about we spoke about sports psychology on there, and we spoke about having people who were coming into the team and they were going to be dealing with certain players and how important sports psychology is, because Vitality, at least with Gregan sort of trying to get the mentality side of things a lot more stable on the Vitality side by sort of talking through things and making sure that personal issues are sorted so then they don't impact on real life, on in-game situations. After that episode, you DM'd me and you were saying that that in Dignitas there were some steps towards sports psychology going on. Did you want to talk a bit about that? Because we think it's very important.
Yeah, so we already have Dignitas already. When we picked up Astral, we knew he had, he had some problems, some confidence issues and stuff like that. So we already, that was one of them, well, not the demands, but, one of the things I just put up to Dig, if we pick up Astral, a sports psychologist would be very helpful, and I think it would benefit him a lot, and us in general. But yeah, that's what happened. Dignitas just put him on a psychologist, and for every week he's been going to her, and, it's been showing, and he's been improving a lot.
Can you think of any specific situations where 2 months ago he would have tilted out, and now he's able to deal with it?
No, just in general, he's way calmer in scrims, in games. He's been improving a lot on just keeping his nerves down a little bit. Not nerves, but how do you say it?
Confidence.
Confidence. He has more confidence, and he tilts it less and stuff like that. So he's improved on that with the psychologist.
I think it's such an important thing because, end of the day, a load of the Rocket League pros, they are young. And a lot of young people don't necessarily either don't ever talk about what's up with them. They don't, this is an issue generally in society anyway, but a lot of young people don't talk about what's wrong with them. They don't talk about that something outside of a game might be influencing them in the game. And when it's your job, you sort of need to make sure that you're in mentally and physically the best reasonable condition that you can be in. Would you say that a team that does end up focusing on the mental health side of things and that does end up focusing on sports psychology, they heavily increase their chances of doing well in high pressure situations, which the job sort of needs for them to be good in?
I mean, I get you can look at Astralis, sorry.
Yeah.
Astralis and CSGO, they were the first to set the foot in that branch, and they really proved themselves. They were always the choke team, and when they got the psychologists, they started winning lands again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they've already proven it. So it's for all the teams to pick up. And I think Dignitas has been picking it up already so far.
I mean, I don't mean to flex, but I actually spoke to Device about this when I interviewed Device from Astralis, sort of really, really famous Device from Astralis. My best mate, 4-time major champion. Whoa, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. And yeah, I asked him obviously the fact that it has been such a turnaround from the 2015-2016 Astralis and choking like every final or every semis that they were in. And he was like, yeah, just the pinpoint moment was when they started getting a sports psychologist. Okay, well, I mean, that's enough with RLCS and that. Fuck that, that's done. I want to know about you, Panda, my best mate. So I know everything already, of course, because we have like sleepovers and talk about boys and stuff.
Yeah, we talk about everything. You know, all my deepest secrets. And
it's crazy, it really is. So we said before about how quote-unquote perfect Dignitas were back in the day, and you were known as almost unofficially as the baddies of Rocket League. Like, you were the team to take down. In Vegas, we did the Imperial March chant whenever you guys came out.
Yeah, I did like that. That was cool.
It was great because it was such like a scary team. Did it ever get to you that people were like almost cheering against you just for you to lose? They didn't even care who won, just for Dignitas to lose so it would finally be over.
I think it already proved itself that we didn't care, because they already did that for like 2 seasons long, so we still won. But yeah, I mean, everyone like was against us because we just won everything.
We talked about the moment where I think it's your CEO was booed in Vegas. Surely that moment, you must have been backstage going, these fucking idiots don't know
fucking
what
Americans.
Stupid shit country.
That was the dumbest shit I've seen.
It was like awful.
Michael Prineville that has put a lot of effort in Rocket League already.
Absolutely.
He's done a lot for the scene already so far. I think he will do way more for the scene in the future as well. But hearing them boo him was just odd. Maybe they didn't know him and they just saw, Dignitas, you know, the winner.
That's what it was, yeah. That's what it was.
You know, but if they did know, they should have really, you know.
That was like the most, I think, disrespectful thing that I've seen for a long while, at least in esports. Definitely in Rocket League, but at least in esports, where I remember me and you were in the audience at the time, and they started booing. We were just like, sorry, is this actually happening? Are people actually booing Dignitas CEO because all bad team lol?
It's terrible.
Ugh,
Yeah,
hated
it was
that.
Awful.
We were also talking about the Vegas LAN, but there's been many LANs.
Literally 7.
Literally, at least 7. Like, minimum 7. Soon to be 8, I've heard.
Wow.
Yep.
What would you say, Panda, is your favourite LAN so far? Because ours, it's far away. Season 5.
It can only be one.
Say it.
London season 5.
Yeah, he said the thing.
He said the thing.
It only makes it better that we won as well, man.
Exactly. Yeah, so that means I can ask this question with a smile on my face rather than tiptoeing around it.
Yeah.
So basically, in case anyone listening to this doesn't know, 0 seconds left, bracket reset, and Justin, some guy called Justin, scores an amazing goal against Dignitas. Some little American scores an amazing goal against Dignitas to take it into overtime, which you guys thankfully won. When you were in the middle of all these fans just going mental and a wall of noise, unlike anything Rocket League fans have produced before,
like blowing out phone speakers, like
yeah. Were you aware that what you have just been a part of, even if you were on the wrong side of it, was a special moment for the entire community?
No. Well, I mean, we heard everyone cheering, of course, but you're so focused. At least I was so focused in the game that no, you don't notice it. But also, it's normal for us, you know. We notice this thing happen in Rocket League, you know, like we scrim daily, you know, last second goals happen, you know, you have to be ready for them. And that's what we were, like, we were so focused. You can see in the camera, like, I was pumped up, like, I tapped Turbo on the belly, like, let's go.
Gave him a little rub.
Yeah. Was that for good luck?
Yeah, probably.
Rub his belly for good luck.
But the bad part for NRG was they were like confused that Justin even did it. Like they were so baffled, they were so stressed out. It seemed like on the camera that they weren't even ready for the overtime yet, and we were.
I mean, obviously, it then came down to that team bump at the end, and then Turbo, I think, then scored that final goal for you guys to then win it. Is there any part of you, just the smallest little slither, just the tiniest 0.0001%
Don't ask
of a hope that NRG would have won?
Dumb question.
What?
Thank you. You fucking ruined it. Like, they got the best moment in Rocket League history, and you
Terrible
ruined
question.
it. Does that ever haunt you that you did a bad thing that day?
Bad question.
No.
I'm so sorry, Panda.
No, all I can say is we won the RLCS, and I'm very happy.
Right, I'm going to cut that question. Fuck that question.
I was livid at that moment. So did you have to say anything to Turbo and K-Dot? Like, when that goal went in, or were you just like, hey guys, we're ready. We've been in this situation before. We're ready to go. Did you have to like G them up at all?
I don't remember, but I know I've seen the matches back, and I know what I did on the camera. Like, you're pretty nervous in that situation as well. I wasn't. We weren't very nervous, but you're very focused, and you don't know what you're doing most of the time, right? Outside the game. So yeah, I watched the match back. I tapped her on the belly. I'm talking like, "Let's go," So I feel like we were pretty ready. We're just very focused. Kato was like literally staring at the screen, ready, and I think we're all just focused and we're ready for the overtime. Yeah.
I think it's time to go to Twitter quickfire questions, because every time we post some questions we post a tweet onto Twitter at @SubParbyNHD if you want to follow us, lol. And people chuck a load of questions through. So you ready to answer these nice and quickly?
These are super quick, speedy ones.
Okay.
Yep, go ahead.
Right. First question from Addy Man. Dignitas created some of the best team plays in RLCS this season, but you had a fairly low conversion rate. How did you and your team practice to improve that, and what do you think clicked in the crucial matches of Week 6?
I don't know, that's always been a flaw for us in RLCS. That's what I said. We didn't perform like we did in scrims and like we did last week. We just couldn't finish because there were nerves on the team and things weren't clicking well. So no, it didn't happen. But yeah, like that wasn't the normal us. We shouldn't have played like that. And I think we showed that last week as well, that we can play better than that.
Is Yukio going to be doing some shots you shouldn't miss training?
What a pack that is, by the way.
It's a good pack. If you want the code, we can give you it. But is he doing any training to hit the net?
I mean, honestly, me and Verge, we even make trainings, or like Verge makes us training spec even for me, like some things he sees in scrims.
Yeah.
The situation that sometimes I can't handle, it's awkward or something. He just makes them again and then gives them to us. That's the same with Yukio and Astro. So yeah, he gave Yukio training specs as well. And
oh, cool.
That's such a good idea.
That is.
Yep.
Next question from @theGs1337. Do you think you guys have a shot at winning Worlds?
If we make it there first, yeah, I think we do.
Respect. From Rusty F. James, do you feel that your experience, together with your consistency, is the key to unleash the crazy mechanically gifted goal machine that Astral can be when he's having a good day?
What a question.
That's a good question, yeah. I think I've shown already that I'm always been a supporting player, passing player. I've showed it with K-Dop, like I've just passed. Back in the day, I just passed everything to K-Dop and he scored, right? Like that was our playstyle, passing, and I was most of the time the passer. And I think that's, I can do that again with Astral. And I think last week we did that. I passed Astral everything and he scored. I guess it helps.
Is it the first time you feel that you peaked on the world stage last week?
That Astral peaked, or
you guys, the team, just played as well as you can.
BTS back in the day also, or like in BTS we played really well. So it just went downhill in tournaments after that. But like during scrims we still played, the normal us. But we just couldn't show it in RLCS. And I think finally, last week we finally did it.
I dare you to win BTS 2.
Go on.
Dare you. Get that duck, mate.
I'll try.
So, what was going through your mind when you first won the World Championship in Season 4 from Jakey RL?
It was quite a sad one, honestly. Okay, yes, we were happy. We won our first one, yes, but we 4-0'd in the final, so it wasn't that,
Yeah, I mean, the real grand final was the upper final against Method.
Yeah, so at that moment, like, literally it was 3-0 and we were already winning, so... Like, when you finally win, you don't get that excited because you already knew you won, basically, right?
So, wait a minute. I abused Stumpy for asking if there was a 0.001% part of you that sort of wished NRG had won because of, like, the storyline and everything. And now you're saying that the Season 4 victory wasn't as great as it could have been because the story wasn't good enough.
Yes.
I'm getting mixed signals here.
The story was great, right? Season 5 story was great, but it had to be us on top, can we?
Okay.
Naturally, okay. I mean, it was such a shame that it did end up going from Method upper finals, then down to then play.
Yeah.
Cloud9? Someone in America.
must
Yeah,
be
I think
Cloud9.
Yeah, Cloud9, they beat
And
Cloud9.
then they ended up beating them, and it was 3 series back to back on stage, and they had to face you guys, and it was just a 4-0. But the upper finals was an incredible finals. So I
we
think
always said the upper finals was the finals.
that was
but
the real finals.
That was the real finals, yes.
Yeah. Okay, from Nebula XOX underscore. You can probably get rid of that underscore, to be honest, Nebula. On a scale from 1 to 10, how amazing is Yukio's hair?
I hope it's good because he works a lot on it every day. But yeah, no, looks good.
What number? You have to give a number for Nebula.
Let's say 9.9. Always room for improvement.
Respect.
I
like that. I like that a lot. I always
That's a general mantra, isn't it?
People always have a go at me whenever, like, if somebody gives a 10 to something. I was like, well, it isn't. It's not objectively the most perfect thing ever. Oh, it annoys me. Good man.
Sure.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What did you enjoy most about playing with K-Dop and Turbo Pulsar from Neil Nopwa?
That we were so consistent. Like, that was probably the most, I don't know what I can say about it. Like, we were consistent and we were winning everything, right? So,
The winning.
yeah, I don't know. The winning was fun, yeah.
The winning everything.
Yeah.
This is an awkward name. From @Cundrum RL, not Cumdrum.
Okay.
Is there anything different about how you prepare/train for tournaments compared to when you won your 2 world championships? If so, what?
Yeah, like I said, we put way more. All the way. Also, back in the day, we only scrimmed once a day. I don't know. I think still some teams do that, but back in the day, scrims weren't as frequent as they are now. So there's already more effort into the game from all the teams because they scrim 2-3 times a day, whatever. But yeah, in general, like I said earlier in the podcast, back then we were winning everything, so we didn't have to put that much effort in, and now, yes, we have to put more effort in.
We've sort of touched on this way back at the start, but we'll repeat it just to sort of put it in a little box. At Sprightly Squirrel, I think that is. Assuming you reach Worlds, how ready are you for the NA teams, and which region would you rather face?
Which region is meaning like OC, EU, all of the regions?
Yes,
or?
yeah,
I'd
I
say
guess
all
so.
of them, yeah.
I mean, I'd rather face the SAM OC teams because they're always gonna be a little bit easier. I mean, I'm not saying they're bad because they are good, but I'm just saying they're gonna be easier than the NA and EU teams.
But you'll have to look at CJ's little face if you put him out.
If CJ makes
that's
it.
true.
Now I'm preemptively sad.
Sorry,
But
mate.
that was another part in the question, right? What did you say?
Assuming you reach Worlds, how ready are you for the NA teams?
NA teams, yeah. I guess I can say we're ready, but we're not sure how they will perform, right? Like I said earlier in the podcast as well, they're wildcard teams. They could perform really well and they perform poorly. But so I mean, except for NRG and the Knights and whatever, they've proven themselves. But if there's Rogue and those teams are gonna go on to land, they can play either very well or very bad. So can't prepare for that.
All right, final question from @TinoBad1. How did you transfer your scrim gameplay into the RLCS last weekend, as scrims are apparently going really well?
Scrims have always been going well for us ever since we formed together. So that's the main part. Like that was the main part we had to work on before last week. Just play like you do in scrims. It's not that hard, right? I'm joking.
Yeah.
But we just had to get rid of the stress. For example, Yukio did have some stress in the first few weeks. Like he had to get over that, and we tried to help him, for the last week, and he proved himself last week that he could do it. He's a great player when he's playing comfortable and like he does in scrims. So yeah, it was just all about trying to be more comfortable on game day.
Okay, well that's it for the Twitter questions. So cheers to everybody on Twitter. @subparbitnhd. Cheers, follow us. Cheers, pal.
Please.
Right, the final section we've got is one that is called Player of the Week. Now, Cole, you've had literally all of League play.
Yes.
Try and figure out the title. So it's Player of the WEAK, not WEEK. Do you get it yet?
I think I've got it. It's because the person
Go on.
who you're about to mention,
Go on, mate.
he played last week
Yeah. No.
in the
Mate,
RLCS. Is that
You're so fucking dim.
Is that it?
Right, well, it's not
I
it.
don't know what's happening. What's happening, guys?
It's Player of the Week. So it's my weakest
very
player.
confusing? I don't get it. It's too much.
So it's
for
the
me.
weakest
Too
player
clever for me,
for
Panda.
something they've done in game for something they've done out of the game. Just something. Last week, it was Roniki's thumbs or USB cable.
Yeah.
For example. Previously, it's been Roniki's tweet. It's usually been something to do with Roniki, to be honest. But this week, it's another R word, Remco. So this is, again, for a tweet. But I'm not going to be as harsh to Remco as I was to Roniki, because that was a little bit mean. So this tweet came out after TSM's loss to Vitality and their subsequent placement in the relegation tournament, right? He tweeted, right, quote, "Honestly goes to show iGnite deserved the spot a lot more than I did. Time to root for his team to make it where they belong, as they are currently in the RLRS. Thanks for the support the past 8 seasons." Now, this can quite easily be read as this is his final season, he's going to retire, he's sort of done with it now. But I was looking back, because I thought, I feel like Remco's been about forever. Spoilers, Remco's been about forever.
Yep.
He's been in every single RLCS season so far, from winning Worlds in Season 3, and then in the next season, being in the relegation tournament, and then ending up beating Secret 4-1 in the lower bracket, right?
Yeah.
Imagine, for a minute, if the human yo-yo, that is a lot, decided to give up after he was relegated twice in a row. I'm not annoyed by his tweet, I'm annoyed with his mindset, because he's being down on himself after a bad season and a roughly 6 months or so. You could maybe argue back to sort of the start of the year with their placement at Leipzig in the DreamHack Pro Circuit. But I don't think after one bad season, after you've already pushed through once, it's time to say thanks for support for the last 8 seasons in sort of a roundabout way of saying, look, I'm going to be giving up. Have you interpreted that at all differently, guys?
No. If he does, like, this was the first thing I said, like, if he did mean he's going to retire, like, in my eyes, it would be does he still have fun in the game then? Then it would make sense to me. But if he still sees this as opportunity, or like still has, you know, fun and stuff, you know, like, all I can say is keep trying. Like, you're only going down to RLRS. It's like, if you eventually notice you're gone of the whole season, or like gone of the whole how do you say it, like
just falling off the cliff, not as good.
Yeah, falling off the cliff all the way.
So you leave RLCS going to RLRS, then you drop out of RLRS, and then you're not even bubble team.
Yeah, if you notice yourself, you don't have a chance at all. But Remco has a chance. He just has to put the effort in. Like I said earlier in the stream, when you notice yourself falling down a bit, you just have to keep putting the effort in. And if he doesn't do that, that's when you go downhill.
I'm going to ask you a question, Stumpy.
Okay.
Say he'd posted the exact same tweet 4 days later. He'd had a few days to rest on it. He'd contemplated everything. He'd spoken to friends, family, teammates, all of that. And then put out this tweet saying, look, I've reached my limit. Would that have bugged you less than the fact that he's clearly done it while highly emotional in a post-Game 5 loss situation? And you think maybe that a professional esports competitor should be trained / have trained themselves to know social media better than that? Is that maybe what's irked you?
I'm not annoyed that he tweeted it. I'm annoyed of his mindset generally. I think it was if it was left for like 4 days, then he came out and he tweeted this, for example, I'd still be annoyed at the sentiment of it. Less so, I think, because you can just tell it's less heated. He's had time to think. He sort of reflected, and actually, it might be a legitimate retirement tweet, for example.
Yeah.
I think the fact that it is a heated thing and that he's acting in the moment and putting himself right at the bottom and saying, look, I think iGnite should have stayed on the team, and he's doing well at the moment. I think it seems very heated and not very thought out. I mean, my main example is looking at how Freaky has dealt with this previously. After he was kicked from Vitality, in 2018 that was, he then skipped a season, took a break to sort of think about what was going on, formed a team, then got into the RLRS in Season 7. He then failed to get promoted and then kept going. Because then he got promoted thanks to the whole Triple Trouble drama and whatever, and now he's second place and they're going to Worlds. Like, Remco is a world champion. If he's not having fun, fair enough.
It also involves mental state. If Remco's really deep down
that's
in
what
his
I mean,
mental health, I could see it, being a legitimate reason.
It's definitely the most important thing, right? Is making sure that his mental health is fine. And I'm ultimately going off this from the perspective of he is still wanting to compete. He just doesn't think he can. And if that's it, then I think I've made a valid point. But if ultimately he just doesn't want to, and he is removed mentally, then fair enough.
If that's the case, him mentally being done or he's overworked or something, he's like done with that. Like, you can't compare Freaky and Remco, right? Like, if Freaky didn't have that problem and Remco does, that's a difference, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I hope that he isn't struggling with himself mentally at the moment. But if he is, I'm not going to put him down for that, because it's such a high-stress job at the end of the day. And it's going to have a lot of impact every single result. So, yeah, the message is basically, you're a world champion, Remco. You can still compete if you want to, and if you're in a good mental state to do so. And hopefully he is, because I've always enjoyed seeing him play. I did also see Maestro respond to the tweet saying, "We dem girls?" ?
I was going to say, I'm looking at the responses here, and it's overwhelmingly positive. I think people can generally tell that he is saddened and hurt by what's happening to him. Even Ignite responded, saying, "Don't know about that. Who knows what would have happened? Think you guys were fine. Toughest season to date, and it came down to one goal with the world champs. I appreciate this, though, more than you know." So it's hopefully a positive is going to fall out from
I hope it is,
for Remco personally or for his teams.
I mean, being a Rocket League pro or being a pro in general in esports isn't the easiest thing. Like, I've had my ups and downs as well, like mentally. I think every player could say the same. You always have your ups and downs mentally, because it is really, how do you say it, really push you to the limit mentally, and it's very hard sometimes. But yeah, I mean, if he can get over it, and he's mentally okay, I think he can do it again.
I mean, something that did sort of slightly annoy me was when I was on Squishy's stream the other day, and he was saying that, like, he's in a horrible situation at the moment because they are coming off 2 seasons ago being world champions and being an incredibly good team ultimately. And he was saying, like, he was a little bit mentally shot and he didn't really know what to do with himself, and he felt like he'd let himself down, and his job at the moment is really hard. I was really annoyed at everybody in chat because everyone was saying, "But you get to play Rocket League for a living." I was like, that's sort of not the fucking point, like, that he's making in this situation whatsoever. And nobody really seemed to understand where he was coming from. And I really respect it, because he just kept saying, like, guys, it's not just playing a game. It's not just sitting down whenever you fancy it and then having it, like, to escape. It is not that. And I respect him for sort of carrying on battling against Twitch chat with 2,000 people.
Well, it's the same with.
Not nice.
I mean, we're in danger of spinning wildly out of topic here, but we might as well just for a bit longer. It's the same as any dream job. As soon as, you know, an example I always like is professional poker player, where someone hears, "Wow, you're a pro poker player. That must be great. You get to play." But actually, they're going to casinos 5 days a week. They're there at weekends. They never see their family. They're up till 4 a.m. and they barely break even. And one bad day, if they don't manage their pot right, they can lose half of their income for the month. You know, like, every dream job has its downsides. You know, you can never just say, "Oh, it's as easy as it looks," because you ultimately you only see the winners. If you watch a DreamHack tournament, say TSM go out round 1, we don't see that, because all we see is the end where everyone's smiling and happy and receiving their winners' checks, you know?
I mean, that's something that I really liked at Leipzig, where if you're there in person, you can sort of see everything like that, and you do get to see every single angle. Like, I was behind TSM when they lost to, I think it was Echo Zulu at the time.
Okay.
And that knocked them out of the tournament. And it was horrible to watch, but it was a new perspective that you hadn't really seen before, and it did show the lows that come with the job.
Yeah.
But yeah, so obviously, not to end it on a down note, Panda, obviously you guys were going into playoffs, and you were pretty much, you were born to be a captain of an esports team, mate. You've done well so far. You got 2 world championships under your belt. But in 2 weeks' time, you're going to need 2 series wins in a row to get that land spot, should nothing change, obviously.
You know.
Yeah. Do you have anything that you'd like to say to all of the fans listening at home? Or on a bus?
It's okay. All I can say is I hope you guys support us. Like, we put in effort, like we showed last week that we can do it. And if we just have a comfortable week and we play like we always do, I think we can do anything again. Like, if we are on a good day and everyone's feeling it, we can do anything.
Go. Well,
Beautiful.
thank you, Panda, for joining us, mate. Really appreciate that.
thank you guys.
Cool. Do
for
you want to like
listening
come
to
around
me.
for a barbecue at some point because we're best mates and stuff?
Wait, don't we already do that like every day?
Yeah, no, sorry, yeah, no, we do. That's
Can
a
I
really good
come?
point.
Can I?
You're literally upstairs
Can I
right
come?
now, like
Yeah,
above
sure.
me,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Look, listen to this. Stamp, stamp.
Can I
stamp.
come?
Oh, it's
hear
a
that?
little bit too loud.
Oh, what are we
Can
like?
I come to the barbecue?
Sorry, Cole. We just need to win this podcast now, mate.
Can I come, please?
Thank you, Panda. Appreciate that. Best of
bring
luck going
sausages.
into Cole. Shut up. Best of luck going into playoffs, and hope that we'll see you in Madrid. Are you going to go even if you don't qualify?
I probably won't.
Oh, okay, cool,
so
sick.
I'll join you, Stumpy.
Sure,
I'm
but
gonna have to qualify.
okay. Well, let's hope you qualify then, because otherwise I'm without a best friend.
Yeah, true. True.
Right. Good luck, and I hope we will see you there.
Thank
All
you
right.
very much, guys.
Bye, everybody. Bye, bye.